size of the school, their fancy uniforms. And remember what got you. Focus on the fundamentals. We've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. You put your effort, concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be. I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners.
This is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show.
This is a second coming. This is a call to arms. Your finest hour won't be wasted.
The New Hampshire High School Hoop Show is brought to you by the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement.
Right now, it's not about talent. It's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest, who can go out there and play the smartest. Now, they've been here before. They're not going to give it to us. We got to go out there and we got to take it.
And now, here are your hosts, Pete Terrier.
But I have a question, though. Those 2 foul shots at the end of the game, did you miss them? Or did you miss them?
Not exactly a soup question, is it?
And Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com.
All season long, we played our game. Right now, you're playing theirs. When we step on the floor, every second that clock is ticking, we are pedal to the metal. We run the ball. We pressure the ball. And most importantly, we control the tempo of the game.
Well, good morning and welcome to our post-Christmas edition of the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. Each and every Saturday morning, we bring you the best 2 hours of New Hampshire High School hoop talk on the radio. WGIR AM 610 in and around Manchester, Nashua, Concord. Then a Seacoast signal for you at 96.7 The Wave. I am Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley of NHSportsPage.com. And Dave, happy holidays and good morning to you on a Saturday.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, right?
And I see you've brought some reinforcements in this morning. Someone who actually knows what she's talking about. Your 6-year-old daughter, Allison, in the house. And
Stowaway.
Yeah, a stowaway.
She's stuck in the back seat.
I'm sure we'll get some biting commentary from her throughout the course of the next 2 hours.
Yeah, she's going to review Monster High, which she's watching right now on Kindle Fire at the end of the program. I'm sure people will want to stay tuned for that.
Well, very, very good. She's a cutie, I'll tell you that much. The red hair, every time I see the young lady, I'm like, man, chip off the old block.
Yeah.
We've got John Cassidy from NHSportsPage.com in the house filming. I did not shower this morning, didn't even do anything with my hair, and I forgot my glasses, so
I'm not sure
you're wearing glasses today.
I'm not sure you even put on clothes. Are you wearing jammies?
I am wearing my jammies.
Let's get that on film.
I've been on vacation all week, and the only time I've worn pants all week was last night. I wore jeans to the
this is like the George Costanza vacation.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What was it?
Huge block of cheese.
Yeah, I got a giant block of cheese beside my bed. Actually, I'm not even sleeping in my bed. I've just been on the couch all week. It's been great.
Must be nice.
I still got a few more days to go.
This storm, I got to say real quick, this storm was the weirdest thing because I'm on the Seacoast. We just had rain, and then I'm on Facebook, so there are people I'm friends with in Dover, which is literally right over that bridge, and they were showing 10 inches of snow.
Really?
We had nothing in the Seacoast. I mean, it was horrible rain, like that rain that's in your face when you're walking. But it was so strange. They had 10 inches, and we had 10 miles away. We had nothing, not an inch.
I saw some pictures on Channel 9 earlier this week, and there was a woman who took a shot in Epping, and same situation, lots of snow, and then Exeter, a couple miles down the road, there was nothing. It was rainy, so it's kind of it's New England, and we got more snow coming in today. We've got the weather forecast rolling on the radio stations throughout the course of the day, so make sure you keep your eye on the weather if you're going to be out and about tonight and tomorrow morning. A lot of games going on around the state of New Hampshire, holiday tournaments. I love holiday tournaments.
Yeah.
I was in Manchester last night, Memorial Central, potential D1 championship game preview.
It's not great.
Awesome game.
I was following you on Twitter. And then, you know what you did? You went, I almost texted you. You said, we're headed to overtime. Troy Pelletier with 2 free throws. And I was following, because I was on daddy duty, and I said, this is great. And then 15 minutes went by, and I'm like, Pete, what?
My phone died.
I was like, what happened?
I was on low battery power.
You were the only guy.
I was on low battery power. My phone died when I got in the car, and I was going to tweet when I got home, just to kind of recap the situation, but then I got, ensconced in some TV, and other things happen. But that was a tremendous game. Lots of games around the state. I'm going to check out some more action today. The Chick-fil-A tournament down in Nashua.
Yeah.
Because of the weather, and they had to cancel basically everything on Thursday, basketball-wise in the state. Some of these tournaments have been pushed back a day and delayed, so they're going to be playing games. There was some controversy at the Chick-fil-A in Nashua where they were just going to crown co-champions, but they worked out a deal, so they are going to play a championship game tonight at 6 o'clock. So two teams are actually going to play 2 games today.
Okay, all right. Because I've got the scores here from yesterday, from the first round.
Well, yeah, and they have 4 games going on today, starting at noon. It's either 4 or 2. I can look at the schedule, but what's going to happen is they're going to play games starting at noon today in Nashua, and then the winners of the 2 winners bracket games. So it will be Hollis Brookline, Nashua South advanced, Sauhegan advanced, and Thornton Academy out of Maine advanced. I don't know who's playing each other, but whoever plays in those games and the winners of those 2 games are going to meet tonight at 6 o'clock in the championship game. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad they were able to work it out. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, Chick-fil-A holiday tournament down in Nashua is great.
I've got the schedule right here.
All right, well, why don't we run down the scoreboard, the games that you do have, and we don't have every single game covered, so please don't hold that against us with the holidays, and not all these tournaments get media coverage. We're going to bounce around a little bit. Dave's going to do what he can to get you up to date on what happened last night.
And I'll just make scores up if I don't know.
Sure, no problem.
Who's going to know?
As long as Guilford wins, right? That's all
Guilford
you
did
care
win.
about.
Well, if you want to lead with that. No, why don't we start with the...
Let me read the sponsor first.
Oh, yeah,
because we got to get that in there. The New Hampshire Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement and the Buyers Beware program sponsor our Friday night scoreboard with Dave Haley, and they remind all adults it's against the law to provide alcohol to minors, even when they're on holiday break, even if they win a holiday basketball tournament, and especially heading into the new year.
Are you saying there's no good time to buy alcohol for minors?
There is no good time to provide alcohol to minors. It's not just buy alcohol. It's provide alcohol.
Provide, yeah.
Perfect example, your young 6-year-old daughter in here.
Yes.
Are you going to be out there giving her a glass of champagne on New Year's Eve?
I wasn't planning on it.
I don't think so. Just remember this sponsorship billboard every time the thought crosses your mind.
Good to know.
Here's the scoreboard with Dave Haley.
All right, so we're going to bounce around a little bit, and I apologize for that. But we'll start with the Chick-fil-A holiday tournament out in Nashua. Hollis Brookline with a 47-40 win over Nashua North. And that's a Hollis Brookline team that hasn't lost a game yet.
Looking forward to seeing them this afternoon.
Yeah, really good backcourt. Connor Walsh and P.J. Flom. And Mike Susi does a nice job. Nashua South, now this score, Nashua South 52, Milford 42. I know from our friend Joe Marshallina and following him on Twitter, this game was not that close. I think Nashua South was up by something like 25 points. Milford started bombing threes at the end to kind of make it respectable. But Nashua South moving on in that tournament. I'll give you the schedule, too, for today. Thornton Academy 51, Campbell 40. It's the first game that Campbell's lost this season. I wouldn't even call this an upset, but a good game. The game that kind of most people were looking forward to. Sauhegan 65, Alvern 57.
Score 1 for D2.
Yeah, score 2, right? Nashua North losing to Hollis Brookline. And let me say this, jump in the middle of this because we're jumping around. Alvern kind of never does well in this tournament, do they? It seems that way. They lost to Campbell a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Remember that was the big.
Yeah.
But so here's the schedule for today, if anyone's interested in going out. At noon, Sauhegan versus Nashua South.
That's a good one.
How about Jake Kennedy down low against Jack Preston?
Yeah, that should be impressive.
That's that's some big boys down there. Thornton Academy takes on Hollis Brookline at 1:30, so the preceding game. Losers bracket at 3 o'clock. Campbell takes on Nashua North. At 4:30, another losers bracket game. Alvern takes on Milford, and then at 6 o'clock will be the championship game.
So the winner of that South Hollis Brookline game going up against the winner of that Hollis
South
Sauhegan, sorry, going up against the winner of Hollis Brookline Thornton Academy.
Correct.
Out of Saco, Maine.
Correct.
I like how they're doing the winners bracket games earlier, so I can go down there at noon time. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Smart idea. I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking about it for my selfish purposes.
Hey, it's early. They may be doing it for you, Pete. Who knows? A couple other scores, and this is the bounce around. Conant beats Keene 79-63. This game was, at one point, 64-36. Conant was pounding on Keene.
So they're winning by 28.
This might be the 4th straight year that Conant has beaten Keene in this tournament. Division I Keene losing to Division III Power Conant. But, I mean, Conant doesn't beat Keene. They blow them out every year. I wonder why Keene even wants to play these guys anymore.
When Keene was good, what Pat Leptowski was there, Boulay, and Conant was really good back then.
They beat them then, too.
I'm sure they did.
They beat them every year. I mean, since I've been doing this website, they've beaten them and this is the 6th year. They beat them every year in that tournament. And it sets up a fantastic game today. Conant is going to be playing Lebanon today.
And we'll have Keith Matty, the head coach of the Lebanon Raiders.
My friend Keith Matty's coming on, which we're excited to have him on. And he listens to us all the way out in Lebanon.
Really?
But Lebanon with a 59-54 win over a good Plymouth team, who I was high on in the preseason. I think they're going to give people trouble. But so here's the story of that game. I talked to Eric Saucier yesterday, the Conant head coach. They may not have Rob O'Brien today, who is their second leading scorer. He is going to his sister's wedding.
That's Christmas tournaments.
Yeah, either today or tomorrow. So he's either going to miss the Lebanon game or the championship game if they're able to make it. Other scores bouncing around: Kennett 69, Interlakes 45. That's a tournament over in Farmington. The game of the night, game everyone's talking about: Guilford 45, Moulton Borough 42.
Golden Eagles still unbeaten.
Yep, they are on to the semifinals of their own tournament, a tournament of which I am a former champion. And Kevin Gray, sadly, is also a former champion. The union leader, he was busting me about that.
And he went to Plymouth?
He went to Plymouth, and he won that as well. Prospect Mountain 51, Newfound 33. This is the Lakes Region tournament up in Guilford. And Winnisquam 43, Kingswood 30. Kingswood is going to have a really long season.
43 to 30. I mean, that's reason for a shot clock. Right there.
And the other game in that tournament was Laconia 44, Belmont 41. Another score of note: Winnicott 64, Portsmouth 56. So Winnicott beats Portsmouth in tournament over in Durham 64-56.
And this is just a question. You know Jim Mulvey closely. Do you think that they went all out? I'm not saying that I'm surprised that Winnicott beat Portsmouth, because I think Winnicott is very, very good, and Portsmouth not as good. I think they're still good. I haven't seen them face.
They're going to be good. Yeah, they're good.
I think they're going to be one of the top teams, at least top 8 in D2. But did Mulvey play it as if it was a regular season game, you think?
No, I'm pretty positive he didn't. But I'll bet you both. Jay McKenna played 12 people. I'm sure Jim played almost as much or as many. I know he gets everybody into those games to see what he has. So, but 64-56, they held their own in that game, and you're going to get a mixed bag. I want to talk now. We'll move on to the Queen City tournament and what you saw yesterday. But you get a mixed bag. Some coaches are going for the win. A lot of coaches want to, it's an opportunity to see, what they have out there and kind of assess like different kids and different packages, different groups out there.
Well, what scores do you have? Because I only saw 2 of the games yesterday at the Queen City Invitational. I was there for the.
I only have the ones you have. The Exeter beating Merrimack, which is an upset.
I was there for that game, and we will talk with Jeff Holmes from Exeter in just a few minutes.
That's a nice win.
Actually, in about an hour or so, we'll talk with Jeff Holmes, and then that
game of the night,
the Memorial Central game, overtime 66-63. Memorial wins it, so they'll play Exeter in the championship game of the Queen City Invitational tonight.
Yeah, and one other score I have, I don't have the final score, but Somersworth played. Remember, we talked to Lauren last week. They played in that York tournament. Yep. They played one of the best teams in Class C in Maine, and got absolutely. They came back. They fought back to lose by 20, but
really?
I mean, I think it was something like 69-49.
And Dover was in that tournament as well.
And Dover got shellacked.
And they lost to, I think, York.
They got killed.
Who was very good. The other winners yesterday in the Queen City Invitational, I don't have the scores. I mean, I could probably get them if I really wanted to, and I will get them eventually. But Goffstown lost to Bedford, and Trinity beat West.
Okay.
And they were both, I think Goffstown won by 10 points or something like that, and West lost by single digits, I think, 6 or 10 points.
What does West look like?
West isn't that bad. They're okay. Yeah, I didn't see them yesterday. I saw them play against Memorial the first half, the first night of the tournament. And they were okay. They actually played Memorial pretty tight. Memorial blew them out. Memorial is good.
Yeah.
All right, Central and Memorial very good. Like I said, it could be all Queen City final in Division I. Long way to go, though. We'll go to Division II right now as we've got the coach of a Lebanon team, which was victorious last night against Plymouth 59-54 in that zero-gravity basketball tournament out at Keene State College. Great name for a tournament, almost as good as the Chick-fil-A tournament. And the Lebanon Raiders, definitely a good team, and the coach of the Raiders is with us, Keith Maddie. Coach Maddie, good morning, and thanks for joining us on the program.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk first about the game last night, but we want to focus on this game coming up today when you guys take on Conant. But you guys eked one out over Plymouth. I keep hearing that Plymouth is a much improved basketball team this year. That obviously is the case by the final score. You guys winning by 5 points, 59-54.
Yeah, and it was actually a great game. The score changed multiple times in the second half, and we actually had a 3-point play with a minute to go to take the lead finally and win it. And they've always been a well-coached team. Mike Sullivan does a great job. But they've just been playing younger kids, waiting for their time, and those younger kids are all juniors now, and they're going to be very good this year, and they're going to be really special next year, I believe.
So, Coach, we were talking just right before you came on. Some coaches treat this differently, and I remember one of my favorite examples a couple of years ago. I know Mike Romps at the Queen City for Dover sat there, and he would call timeouts and not say anything to his team and sit there with his legs crossed and let the kids figure it out on their own. And how do you treat these tournaments? You guys are always a team that's contending. I picked you top 3 in Division II, and there's nothing that's happened so far that tells me I'm wrong on that. How do you treat a Christmas tournament like this?
Well, I mean, we always approach it to win because, we're keeping score, and that's what our goal is to play good basketball. But, yesterday we played all 13 kids, and that can make the rotation kind of crazy. Tonight, we have an opportunity to play a really good team in Conant, and I'm not going to play all 13 kids. I'm going to take this opportunity to, have my top 7 or 8 guys really play against their iron. So every game is its own little adventure. That if we win today, we'll have a different approach than we might if we lose today. But really the goal, and I said this to my kids before the first game, is we need to get better. We need to get more consistent, and we need to get some kids some time that haven't had opportunity.
So in that same vein, when I first started the site 5-6 years ago, I had a lot of Manchester coaches kind of pull me aside, and they would say, "We read you all the time, and you're talking about Conant. How honestly, Dave, how good are those guys? You are a little closer to those guys. You played them last year. I know you beat them in a very good game in the same tournament. What do you get a sense from your kids about how they feel about Conant? I mean, do they look at them almost like a Division I team or a team, that they want to measure themselves against?
Well, somebody might look at them as like this little small school that, has its own little unique brand of basketball. But let me just tell you, those kids are really good basketball players, and they stack up well with any team in the state. And when you go to Conant or when you go into that Keene area, they don't look at themselves as this little school. They think of themselves as a juggernaut, and they're a special group. They only lose a game or two every few years, Yeah. So they don't think of themselves as this, little underdog at all. They are a powerhouse, and Sauce does such a good job with those kids, and they play a system where it's fun to watch, and it's my kids look at this as a big game, not as like we're a bigger school or, we're going down there to, put a little school in its place. They have a huge crowd, a huge following, and those kids are big, and they can shoot, and they can dribble, and it's not, they don't have this underdog mentality that maybe some of those, the big schools look at them and think of this quirky little program or something. It's not. They are an absolute powerhouse.
Lebanon coach Keith Maddie is our guest. His team victorious last night in the zero-gravity holiday tournament out at Keene State College. They beat Plymouth. Big one tonight against Conant High School. Pete Terrier, Dave Haley on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. You guys, outside of the tournament, 2-0 in regular season play. You had to start
2-1.
2-1. Sorry.
Yeah.
You had to start with your rivalry game at Hanover on opening night, and then you play Sauhegan and Pelham to start the season. So kind of a murderer's row right off the bat for you guys. One of the kids that I want to talk about is a kid who gets a lot of attention, but he doesn't get a lot of attention around this area, the Manchester area, where we broadcast the show from. And I'm dying to see this kid play. David Hampton, your outstanding senior guard, put up 35 against Sauhegan. You guys beat them 70-54. Talk about what kind of player he is for your Raiders basketball team.
Well, David is, he's obviously a lights-out shooter, and he's always been that since he was probably in the 4th grade. And he could always shoot the ball. What's great about this year is Dave's really starting to evolve and become a true point guard. And last night, I think he had 15. But, he doesn't get a lot of great looks, so he knocks down what he gets, and he really sets up the other kids well. I mean, the last play, the play that we won, the and one play, was an absolute great job of him running our offense through right to the end and then making a great pass inside to Matt Coles, who lays it in and one. And, everybody remembers Matt making a big shot and hitting the free throw, but, coaches remember, hey, he ran our offense flawlessly and then got the ball exactly where it needed to be for the layup, and he's a true maestro on the court. He does a great job running our offense and then shooting the ball, and then he's a great kid off the court too. He's a straight A student. He's a good leader. I mean, it's going to be really weird. I've had him forever. This is my last year with David, and it's going to be strange when he leaves next year.
So Keith, I wanted you to talk a little bit about what you do. And you've been what year? How long you've been at Lebanon? A long time. What year is this for you at Lebanon?
I think it's year 15.
15.
I remember.
Keith, you're not that old.
I remember when you were just this young whippersnapper, and Lang Metcalf was the veteran guy. He was the Chuck Lenahan of basketball, and I remember you taking over. And when you just said 15 years ago, that made me feel pretty old.
I know.
I didn't realize it until you said it.
Yeah, my good friend from Lebanon, Troy Moody, bows to the altar of Lang Metcalf. So I know that the history up there. But in talking to you over the years, and we become friendly with the golf tournaments we're at together during the summer and all that, and talking a lot to Tim Winslow, who's the great Hanover coach who actually teaches at Lebanon High School. I was interested in talking to you guys about what you do during the summer, because you're at a bit of a disadvantage with the Manchester schools or the Nashua schools that get to play in the BST League or.
Yeah.
You get to compete against each other all the time. In Manchester, I know, like Carmen and Pelletier and those kids can go play open gym against each other anytime, Dawson Dixon, anytime they feel like it. What do you do with these guys during the summer? Is that a challenge for you guys being out west?
Well, it is unfortunate we can't do the BST thing because we would love to, actually. And I keep asking them every year, hey, can we just have like an at-large bid for the tournament at the end? And they put me on a maybe every year. But we have a summer league up here, and the problem is it's not a problem, but it's a bunch of small schools, and therefore we're stronger than those teams generally, us and Hanover. But there's some good basketball. Like Mascoma's pretty good. And there's some other schools here that are, that play in our league. But you're right, it is a disadvantage. So we get in the gym and we work on getting better, and we do a lot of individual workouts and things like that in the summer, as does Hanover. And it is what it is. We got to make do with what we have. We actually also, I don't know if you know Blendon Sauls, but he's really started to get the Longhorns basketball club going, which is like an AAU team program where we probably have 5 or 6 teams now of local kids.
Wow, that's good.
That's helping, but you're right. It's tough up here.
Cool.
We're way up here, I'll tell you. I can't get you guys until you guys put it on New Hampshire Sports page, actually. I can't hear the radio.
I got to get John Kessler to get in a car with me. That's the thing. It's not easy being in a car with me for an hour and a half, so we'll see if I can talk him into that.
Well, back in the day, we had a signal up there, part of the it was the Action News Network, it was called, probably back at the time where you were just starting off as a head coach at Lebanon. We had a signal up there. I think it was like, I don't remember the frequency of it, but it was one of the AM stations up there, and we were all over the state. But hey, you'll have to settle for a Seacoast signal, 96.7 The Wave, and WGIR AM 610. You can also get us on iHeartRadio, wherever you are, Coach. So if you're into technology.
You posted it on the sports page, and we can listen to it up there. That's actually what a lot of kids do.
All right, well, I got one more for you before we got to let you go. Is it Pembroke's year to finally break through and win the championship? Are they truly the team to beat?
Well, I think without question, right now they're the best team. I mean, they're extremely well coached by Matt. They have good players. They're experienced. They got size. If you're asking me to pick Pembroke or pick the field, that's a tough one. But if you ask me who's the most likely to win it, I would definitely have to say Pembroke. I mean, they got a lot of good things going on for them. We have a crazy division where I don't know if there's a big difference between number 2 and number 10. I mean, I'd say Hollis is very good. Who knows about Bishop Brady? They're going to get better and better. Their best players are freshmen and sophomores. There's a lot of question marks out there. But yeah, I would have to say Pembroke's got the inside track.
All right, Coach. Well, we really appreciate the time. Interesting matchup tonight against Conant. What time's the tip time for that game?
The tip time is 7 o'clock, and it should be a good one.
All right. Well, good luck, and thanks for coming on. And spread the word. NHSportsPage.com. You can watch the video. I didn't shower today, so just don't. No offense against you or anything like that.
They can't tell Lebanon.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's hope.
I think that was I think that was a dig, Coach. I don't know. Thanks for joining us. Good luck tonight. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Keith Maddie, head coach of the Lebanon Raiders. Great matchup against Conant High School tonight.
I'd love to go to that game.
I would too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, can't be in two places.
I think
at one
Conant beat
time.
them Lebanon beat them by like 2, maybe 3 last year. It was a very good game.
All right, we'll take a timeout, come back. I want to talk a little bit about that Queen City extravagant game last night. It was an overtime battle. Memorial beat Manchester Central 66-63. Tremendous game, great crowd. It really was the game of the year so far, in my opinion. Look, I've only been to about 5 games so far this year, but it was a great game, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy hearing about it. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, WGIR, AM 610 and 96.7 The Wave. We're rocking up to the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show.
That's rocking out.
Was that like a pause or something? Like I was like banging. We're banging, and then all of a sudden, boom, nothing. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. Pete Terrier, Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com. Lots of holiday hoop action. I was at a tremendous game last night. I was at 2 pretty good games. One pretty good game, 1 awesome game. Central and Memorial in overtime, and I know you've uncovered some other scores.
Yeah, quickly, I wanted a couple of scores. My friend Jamie Hayes with a big win. Newmarket 66-38 over Stevens, and Stevens is 4-0 in Division III. Newmarket is, as I've said before, I think would be a top 6 or 7 team in Division III. So Newmarket with a big win, and Epping 71-44. That's another. Over Raymond. That's another Division IV over a Division III team. And Co-Brown with a 57-39 win over Ichabod Crane's alma mater, Sleepy Hollow.
Love that. Where are they from?
Is it New York? It can't be New York because that's big, I think.
It could be.
Maybe, but
I know that Keene tournament attracts teams from all over the place.
Yeah.
Hey, here's some scores from Union Leader doing a good job with the high school scores. Capital City Classic, Capital Area Christmas Tournament. You had Bo beating John Stark 66-63, so a victory for Lucas Croto in the holiday tournament against John Stark. Concord beats Merrimack Valley 53-52, so a real close game there. Hopkinton, Kearsarge 50-15. Yikes. 50-15. That's what it says in the Union Leader.
Hopkinton beat them that bad?
Well, that's what it says in the Union Leader, 50-15.
It just sounded like you threw up on the mic.
Pembroke, listen to this one. 48-41 over Brady. A hell of a game there. Brady and Pembroke, that's a big rivalry.
Mark Yetton has no fear. I love it.
So, close game there. Let's see here.
Every time you think a team is completely unbeatable, something happened.
It's got, in the Union Leader, It's got Timberlane beating Portsmouth 64-56, but we know that. But it's
Winnicott.
funny. I know it's funny because I don't mean to make fun of these guys because I know I screw up too, but I can't resist. It says Timberlane. This is from the Bobcat Invitational, that Oyster River tournament. Timberlane 64, Portsmouth 56. Owls, Ryan Gelati, Sam Nolmeyer, Rich Ruffin, and Patrick Lampier
Big transfers.
combined for 9 3-pointers. Gelati had a game-high 23 for the Owls.
Yeah, Timberlane with some huge transfers over
What
Christmas.
happened?
And boy, Jay McKenna reeling right now. His entire team has left him.
Maybe they were like, man, at Winnicott we got no snow in Hampton for the storm,
No.
so we're all moving to Plastown where they
right.
got some snow. We can do some sledding
There'll
here.
be a behind the lines on ESPN feature on that.
My apologies, Vin Sylvia and the rest of the Union Leader people, for making fun of you about that. But I mean, that's one that they're looking at this morning like, damn.
Maybe. I don't even know if they noticed.
Trust me, they're getting the emails, they're getting the phone calls.
Yeah, well.
But I want to talk about the Memorial Central game. What a game.
Yeah, I want to hear about it.
I mean, Memorial, all right, we've been wondering, if they can, coexist with their coach, Jack Quirk, who is kind of a hard-nosed guy, an old-school guy, was coaching there before, was a great coach for Hesser College, the junior college program that was nationally known.
Oh, yeah, knows the game.
Then he was with the Memorial Girls for the last, I think, 9 seasons. Stepped down from there to coach the boys team when Fitzpatrick left for Bedford. They've got some talent. I mean, they are the most athletic team that I've seen in a long time in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all athletes. They don't have huge size, but they got a few guys that are about 6'4". I mean, Tong Acott, who I love.
Yeah, you like that guy.
Oliver Miller type of body, but he's got skills.
Did you and John tape this last night?
We did not.
Okay.
They've got, and it's like pronunciation guide necessary when you go to a Memorial game.
Remember we had Fitzy in here last
He
year.
couldn't do it.
He said, I have their first names down.
Well, I remember like saying, here, you can grade me and tell me if I'm wrong or not. And, Kabongo Nalakalandi. All right.
Okay.
You should have heard Arthur Adamakis, who was the principal at Memorial,
Yeah.
and he does the announcements, the PA announcements. He announced the starting lineup anyways. That's all they do, which drives me crazy. It's like, get a PA announcer. I'll even volunteer.
Yeah.
Get me to do it. Adam Furious will do it.
Tommy Amin.
Tommy and me. Well, I talked to Tommy. Tommy's not on the tournament committee. So whoever's on the tournament committee there, get a PA announcer. Adamakis does a great job. Or let him do the whole game, do all the tournaments, and announce every single basket, the fouls, things like that. Trust me, it adds to the atmosphere.
Oh, of course.
But Nala Kalandi, he's got a little brother who came up huge late in the game and in the overtime. I don't know how you pronounce his first name, but it's like Sheaf. Tshief. And here's how you spell the last name. Dave, you love this as a writer.
I got to put this on the site.
Ngalakulondi. Nala Kalandi. And then they got the best player on the court last night, Zubel Iridakunda. Very, very good player.
He was the
Kid
best
had
player on the
27.
court?
He had 20. Troy Pelletier is tremendous. I know you're saying that because of Troy Pelletier.
I'm asking.
He was really good last night. It was like a battle between him and Pelletier. I just thought Zubel Iridakunda stepped up big in the overtime.
He's played well, yeah.
He had 6 of his 27 points in the overtime.
Yep.
And the other kid, the freshman, Sheaf Nalakalandi, 6'4" freshman, he scored 6 of his 8 in the overtime and had a couple of huge free throws in overtime to really kind of salt that one away.
Is Sudi Lett coaching the JVs?
He's not on the coaching staff. They've got the assistants under Quirk. I don't think he's. I don't know if he's coaching the JVs.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I
But
should know
he's
that.
certainly not on the head coaching staff.
I'm getting a bug in my ear saying no.
No, okay. Scott Preston, Renee Bordelot, and Mark Telge. Telge used to be a coach, I think, for Central and maybe for Trinity too, but he's now with Jack Quirk at Memorial. They got a really good team. The point guard, Amaru Conti.
Yeah.
I think he hurt his left shoulder or his left arm late in that game because he was holding his arm, but he ended up finishing with 9 points. The kid Joel Mayola is very athletic.
Yeah.
The off guard for them.
I know him.
I mentioned the Nala Kalundi brothers. I'm not. Look,
I think you're doing pretty well. I don't know. Maybe you're doing horribly, but I can't tell.
I mentioned a few minutes ago during the break that I'd really like to broadcast the D1 and D2 championship games at UNH. And I'm going to back out if Memorial's in the game.
It's like when Johnny Most did the Celtics against the Yugoslav team. He's like the big lefty.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to be. Well, and they had a kid off the bench, headband wearing kid, Zach Edos, he wasn't even on the roster, number 15. And I want to thank TNF from the NH Sports Forum to fill me in with who he was. He scored 5 points.
Sources told him.
Yeah. But he's a Memorial guy, TNF, so he helped me out with that. But Memorial's a very good team. I think the only issue with them is they're not that deep. They're like 6 deep.
No, they're not deep at all.
They're like 6 deep. For Central, I mean, Brett Hansen, I got a man crush on Brett Hansen. 20 points. Huge, huge three that got Central back in the game. It was like a 25, 27-footer straight away, and he did not hesitate whatsoever. This is the sophomore. I think I may have got the line of the year when I called the kid 6'0", 100 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, he can play. Had 20 points in the game. Yeah.
He's got that lefty floater in the lane.
He just can score.
Mabor Gabriel seemed to time it out at the end of that Trinity game. He threw a couple of those back at him.
Brett Hansen swatted Conte twice in the game.
Oh, really?
I thought going into the game, I'm like, man, Hansen's going to struggle against these strong athletic kids from Memorial. No, he held his own. Pelletier was great. Had his best game I've seen him play, and I've seen them play 3 times so far this year. Had 24 in the game.
He plays his best in big games. It sounds like a cliche, but when it's the bigger the game and the more he kind of asserts himself.
Well, he had a couple of free throws with 14.4 seconds left that ultimately iced the game. Memorial had a last crack at it to end it in regulation, but Conte missed a 3-pointer. And then, I think the difference in this game, Dixon did not shoot the ball well. Been raining threes all over the place this year. I think he only had, I don't know if he even had any threes last night. I don't think he did. And he missed a couple that would have been big shots had he hit them. I mean, he's a great player. I really like him a lot.
As I told you, I watched the entire Trinity Central game, and he scored the first 11 points for Central now.
Yeah.
He's shooting with a lot of confidence. He's got a great-looking stroke. I mean, it's just
he does.
And he gets it off. And the thing he's doing now, the problem with Dawson has always been he gets in the lane, and he's so small, he doesn't have anywhere to go. And he has trouble passing out, and he can't shoot in there. He doesn't have a floater yet, or he's too short for a pull-up jumper. So you're going to see more teams. What they're doing now is they're leaving him open from 22 feet. They're going to stop doing that because we got 2 games of film. On our side alone, we got Alvin and the Trinity game where he's banging these shots because they're leaving him open. Teams are going to force him to take it into the lane, and then he tends to get stuck in there. I'm sure he'll adjust. I mean, but that's what he's looking at.
I think the advantage that Central may have over Memorial is the depth. I mean, they're a little bit deeper. I mean, they don't have tremendous depth, but once they get Plensis back,
which is huge that they don't have him.
Well, I saw him last night, and he had a couple of fingers taped together, so I know he had a hand injury. I'm sure they're taking it slow with him.
It is a hand, yeah.
So when he comes back, that's just going to be another quality ball handler. And I don't know what they're going to do, because right now they're starting Pelletier, Dixon, Hansen, Tyler Kelly, and Macris has been starting. Before that, Colin Duffley started. So you got to think that once Plensis gets back in there, I mean, that's another guard.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to help Dawson Dixon because they've got 3 guys who can really handle the ball and 3 guys who can score in Pelletier, Dixon, and Hansen.
And 3 guys who can really defend.
Right.
They're going to be a pain in the butt to get the ball up the court against.
Once they get him back, I heard that the Joseph situation, Isaiah Joseph came down. He's not getting granted another year.
I heard the same thing.
I don't know if that's true or not. But the fact is that they're going to be good despite the fact that it doesn't look like he's going to be playing for. Although he's still on the bench. He's still on the bench wearing warm-ups. So I don't know if they're holding out hope or whatever, do some kind of appeal. If Richard Sherman from the Seahawks can beat his suspension by the NFL, maybe they can get Isaiah Joseph some eligibility. We'll take a timeout, come back, and we'll wrap up the hour, get you set up for hour number 2 of the program. Jeff Holmes, the head coach of the Exeter Blue Hawks. He will join us 8:25. His team beat Merrimack last night. They're going to take on Memorial tonight in the Queen City Invitational Championship. I'm looking forward to the Chick-fil-A tournament, which I want to talk about a little bit when we come back as well. It is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, WGIR AM 610 and 96.7 The Wave. Heading up towards the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, New Hampshire High School Hoop Show, our post-Christmas edition as we get set for championship games and a lot of the holiday basketball tournaments around the state. I'm going to be headed out to the Belanger Gym, Nashua South High School. Going to see a couple of games this afternoon and maybe even dip back there for the championship game tonight at 6 o'clock. Cool thing is they were able to work out a situation where originally when the weather hit on Thursday, they canceled Thursday games, basically pushed the start of the tournament back to yesterday, Friday. This thing was supposed to start with 8 teams playing 4 games on Thursday. On Wednesday, they made the decision that they weren't going to make teams travel. They had a team coming down from Saco, Maine. So they said, you know what, let's do the right thing. We'll push this thing back. At the time, they said, you know what, we can only play 2 days worth of games. We can play 4 games on Friday, and then we can play 4 games on Saturday. And the winners brackets games on Saturday, whoever won those 2 games were going to be co-champions. And you know what? Kind of like kissing your sister.
Yeah.
You really go to a tournament. You want to win a tournament. You want to play in a championship game.
Right.
It's just an extra game. That's why coaches do it. They want to play as many games as possible. Even though they don't count in the standings, you want to do that. Well, they went out and polled the teams and said, hey, do you guys want to play a championship game? Because we'll try and make it happen. And all the teams said, yeah, sure. We want to play a championship.
A lot of these kids are, I remember Dawson Dixon mentioned it in the interview that you did with him after the Trinity game. A lot of these kids play AAU, and they play 3-4 games a day. Now, I'm guessing that the championship game may not be, the best versus the best. I'm wondering if one of the coaches or both of the coaches say, I'm going to play 10 guys in that final. But a lot of these kids play 3-4. I mean, they're 17-year-old kids. They can go out
I don't
there
think I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's organizationally trying to put this thing together and volunteers. You got to get people back, and I like what they did in Nashua, where they're starting the games at noon today. So at noon, you're going to see. I don't remember the order of it, but Souhegan and Nashua South are playing at noon, and then you got Thornton Academy out of Saco, Maine, playing against Hollis Brookline at 1:30. So, and then there's 2 other consolation games after that, and then they'll play the championship game at 6 o'clock. So, South wins against Souhegan, or whoever wins that game is going to have a little bit of a longer rest than the winner of that Hollis Brookline Thornton Academy game.
Luckily, they're local, so they can go home. But yeah.
Will they go home?
Well,
I think
Souhegan?
I don't know that you'd go home.
You're not going to sit in the gym for 5 hours.
Look, if I'm going to the first 2 games, I'm going to bring my son. He's all excited about seeing the Chick-fil-A.
Do you want to know where I'm going today at 1 o'clock?
Where are you going at 1 o'clock?
Nothing but good times in Merrimack.
Birthday party,
6-year-old play date.
Yeah, my son had to go to one there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He had, and I said,
Trust me, I'd rather be in the gym. But
you're going to have nothing but a good time, trust me.
Yeah, she is.
Better than Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
On a Saturday afternoon, holiday week.
You don't think they'll go home?
I don't think they'll go home. I don't know.
They're local.
I don't know. I don't think they'll go home. Maybe they will. I'm not sure. I mean, well, think about it. If their game starts at 1:30, gets over at 3, by the time they get out of there, 3:30, then you got to come back and play a championship game at 6 o'clock. You're probably not going home. I mean, you might go out and grab a bite to eat or something someplace.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going home. I just don't think so. So I'm looking forward to seeing Hollis Brookline. I'm looking forward to seeing that Nashua Souhegan game. That should be a pretty good game. I think you'll see a
Hollis Brookline South final.
You think so?
I think so.
All right. Well, we'll see how it works out. All right. First hour is in the book. Want to thank Keith Maddie from Lebanon for being our guest this hour. Next hour, we got Jeff Holmes, the head coach of the Exeter Bluehawks. His team just doing what they usually do in Exeter. They plug away. They win. They're taking on Memorial in the championship game tonight, Queen City Invitational Basketball Tournament. We'll talk to Coach Holmes on the other side at 8 o'clock.
Fancy uniforms, and remember what got you. Focus on the fundamentals. We've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners.
This is the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show.
This is a second coming. This is a call to arms. Your finest hour won't be wasted.
The New Hampshire High School Hoop Show is brought to you by the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement.
Right now, it's not about talent. It's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest. Who can go out there and play the smartest. Now, they've been here before. So they're not going to give it to us. We got to go out there and we got to take it.
And now, here are your hosts, Pete Terrier.
But I have a question, though. Those 2 foul shots at the end of the game, did you miss them? Or did you miss them?
Not exactly a soup question, is it?
And Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com.
All season long, we played our game. Right now, you're playing theirs. When we step on the floor, every second that clock is ticking, we are pedal to the metal. We run the ball. We pressure the ball. And most importantly, we control the tempo of the game.
Hour number 2 of the program, the post-Christmas Day show, heading up towards New Year's Day on Tuesday. Pete Terrier along with Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com. We got John Kesty from the website filming the show. Going to post this up on the site so you can watch it as well as listen to it. Our special guest host, Dave's 6-year-old daughter, Allison, in the house. What a cutie she is. She hasn't said boo.
No.
Since she's been in here.
No, she's good.
That
she's watching
Kindle
her
Fire working wonders,
Yeah.
huh?
Santa Claus did well.
Our producer is Adam Furious. Going to talk with the head coach of the Exeter Bluehawks basketball team, Jeff Holmes, in about 15 minutes or so from now. His team head into the championship game of the Queen City Invitational Basketball Tournament. They're going to take on Manchester Memorial. We'll get you the scores from the games around the state last night. A lot of teams in a lot of different tournaments. Why don't we run down the scores right now? Our scoreboard brought to you by the New Hampshire Liquor Commission's Division of Enforcement and the Buyers Beware program, reminding all adults it's against the law to provide alcohol to minors. Yeah, it is a no-no, even when the kids are on holiday break.
Unless they win a game.
No, you still can't do it, Dave.
You can't?
Have you not been doing this show with me long enough to know that you can't do it? And don't do it. Especially if your kid is 6-year-old and in studio doing a radio show with you.
Oh, that's a good idea, too.
Put the mimosas away, Dave. Here's the scoreboard with Dave Haley.
All right, so we're going to bounce around a little bit, like we said. We're all over the place with results from the holiday tournaments, but we'll start with the Chick-fil-A holiday tournament out of Nashua. After a one-day delay, Hollis Brookline, 47-40 winners over Nashua North. They move on to the semifinals today. Nashua South with a 52-42 win over Milford. That game was not as close as it sounds. Milford hit a lot of threes in the end to make it closer. Nashua South moves on to today's semifinal at noon, where they will take on Sauhegan, who was a 65-57 winner over Alvern, which was kind of the game that we were all looking forward to the most yesterday. And a nice win from Mike Heaney's crew. They're starting to get it back together. Thornton Academy with a 51-40 win over Campbell. And that's Campbell's first loss of the year. So today's semifinals in that tournament at noon, Sauhegan versus South. And at 1:30, Hollis Brookline takes on Thornton Academy. Some results from the Keene tournament. We talked to Keith Maddie earlier. His team with a 59-54 win over Lebanon, with a 59-54 win over Plymouth. They move on to take on Conant, who once again beat Keene. Division III Conant owns Division I Keene. It was 79-63, but it wasn't that close. At one point, I think I think Conant outscored them, I believe, 28-9 in the second quarter.
Wow.
It was 64-36 at one point, so.
Can't wait to ask Jeff Holmes, who started Keene High School, what he thinks about Keene at the bottom of the barrel now.
We'll talk about that because he was very supportive of Bill Johnston, who was a friend of his and a colleague's, and he stepped up and was very supportive of him when he was, I believe, personal opinion, fired for
wrongly fired.
Wrongly fired. Thank you. Kennett 69-45 over Interlakes. That's a Farmington tournament, and we'll go to the Lakes Region tournament now. Up in Guilford, Laconia was a 44-41 winner over Belmont in that tournament. Prospect Mountain, who's kind of sputtered a little bit at the beginning of the season, moves on as well. They beat Newfound 51-33. Winnisquam with a 43-30 win over Kingswood. Kingswood is going to have a very, very long year in Division II. I mean, it's going to be a rough ride for Dan Check and those guys. And game of the night, Guilford 45, the Oklahoma City Thunder 42. I'm sorry, Molten Borough Academy. My apologies. I must have read it wrong. With a win there, so Guilford continues to be a house on fire. Other scores from around. Winnicott with a 64-56 win over Portsmouth in the Seacoast game that played in the tournament over in Durham. And a couple other scores. It was Newmarket 66, Stevens 38. In a tournament out of Newmarket. Newmarket, like I said, probably one of the top 6-7 teams in Division III if they played in it. And Epping was a big winner over Raymond in that same tournament. So 2 Division IV teams beating Division III teams. Of course, Memorial with the 66-63 overtime win over Central. And as you mentioned, Exeter with, I don't know the final score. They beat
55-49. They beat Merrimack.
Beat Merrimack 55-49. Nice win for Jeff Holmes. Happy for him. And that'll be an interesting final.
Yeah, Exeter and Memorial tonight, 7:30, Manchester Memorial Gym. That's the championship game. And the other games yesterday, the consolation games, the losers bracket games. No offense, Dave Keefe and Danny Bryson and Mike Fitzpatrick and Justin Gorham. Trinity beat West 67-61. Bedford beat Goffstown 63-53. Just some other scores that I got here.
Goffstown beat them or Bedford?
No, Bedford won that game. Right. Some other scores out of the Union Leader, the Capital Area Christmas Tournament at NHTI in Concord. Bow beats John Stark 66-63. Concord beat Merrimack Valley 53-52. Hopkinton over Kearsarge 50-15 is the final score that the Union Leader has, but we just saw on Channel 9 that they got a different score for that game. I don't think it changed the results.
They had 49-22.
All right, so whatever. I don't know how you get 49-22 in one website or one media outlet and the other one has 50-15, but that's another story. Pembroke beat Bishop Brady 48-41, and the score of the night from the Union Leader, I got to throw one more barb in there. Timberlane over Portsmouth 64-56 with Al's players Ryan Gelati, Sam Nolmeyer, Rich Ruffin, and Patrick Lampy combining for 9 3-pointers. Those are Winnicott players. Winnicott beat Portsmouth. You had the score 64-56, not Timberlane.
And I forgot to mention Co-Brown with a win over Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, which we don't know where that is, but it could be New York. I'm hoping that it's Ichabod Crane.
Poor Ichabod Crane. I think he met an untimely demise at the end of that book.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I think he survived in the movie because it was Johnny Depp, and
How about that Alvern Sauhegan game? You talked about it earlier, saying you're not sure it's an upset, but that's a good win for Sauhegan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a team that was 0-2 a week ago last night. I was at the Sauhegan Goffstown game in Amherst, and we had the video highlights on nhsportspage.com. Sauhegan was a team that many people thought would be top 4 in D2, including you. When you did your preseason rankings.
Still do.
They started off 0-2. They got the victory against Goffstown. They beat Division I team Alvern, which is a team that I think many people think are going to be top 8, at least top 10 in D1. Alvern, I think, was 2-1 going into the game. They only lost to Central in a game that they led most of the way. I was at that game as well. But Brandon Len continues to just show how good of a player he has. 28 points, 18 of them in the second half. And Sauhegan beats Alvern 65-57. They'll take on Nashua South today. Noontime tip-off in the semifinals of that Chick-fil-A tournament down in Nashua.
Brandon Len versus Tim Preston.
That's going to be a heck of a matchup.
Yeah.
You talked about the Jake Kennedy-Jack Preston matchup, of course, for big men. I think advantage Jack Preston.
Oh, easily.
He's a better player.
I'm just saying size. No, Jack Preston is a lot better player. I mean, I think even Jake Kennedy would admit that. But point guard battle, and you arguably have the best point guard in Division II playing the best point guard in Division I.
Can Tim Preston? I don't think they ask him to score. I mean, we had Coach Mazerol on last week. They don't ask him to score like Mike Heaney and Sauhegan asked Brandon Len to score.
Right. I think he scores when I think David Dunham's the kind of the X factor there when he's scoring. And again, he had one game early on, David Dunham, where he had 22, and I think the next game he had 4. And And Coach Mazzarello kind of said that's kind of how that's going to be, just because it's how the offense is flowing and who's getting open. But I think Tim Preston can score. It's just a matter of if they need him to. I think he's a true point guard on the team. Brandon Lynn, he's a very unselfish kid, but they absolutely positively need him to score. They need kids like Tyler Ford to step up and score more. Zach Simons and a couple other kids there that can put the ball in the hoop.
Simmons didn't even play yesterday. I don't know if he'll play today, and neither did Tyler Ford. So Kennedy was in double figures with 10. Dworkin, I like him. He's kind of a slasher. Brian Dworkin scored 8 in that game. AJ Hayes is a transfer from Bishop Gurdon, who's pretty good. Tanner Kent. Trey Darrow, the kid who transferred in from Wisconsin, I think it was what Coach Heaney told me. He's a decent player too. For Alvern, I think they just, Tyler Livingston's got so much potential. He's got the body, 6'5", real good shape. To me, and this isn't a knock, this is an observation, he seems to have underachieved.
Well, we talked about this a little bit off the air. Not about him, but I put Mabor Gabriel in the same category, and I this is not, I'm not going to knock these kids, but
haven't lived up to expectations.
Well, no, I just don't know if it's. I'm going to make an example. A couple of years ago, I went to a Central Trinity game, very big game. Mike Stiles, who obviously is a Southern New Hampshire, was a tremendous player for Doc Wheeler. They were losing that game late. And in the second half, Mike Stiles said, no, this isn't happening. And Trinity ended up winning. They hit a bunch of foul shots. But Stiles went for like 35. He was hitting threes. He was driving through 3 people. If he had 3 fouls, they were charging because he was just going the hoop every time. The kid was an animal. Tremendous player. I have so much respect for him, and he's doing a great job now for Stan Spiro. If those 2 kids, Tyler Livingston and Mabor Gabriel, had his motor, they'd be unstoppable. You look at Mabor Gabriel, some of the moves he makes, the dunk he had. The dunk was kind of a nice pass from Ryan Otis, or maybe it was from Keefe, but fine. I'm talking about more the hard dribble to the middle of the paint, little jump hook from 4 feet. Who's stopping that? I mean, but he does it like twice a game.
And he's 6'7". I think Stiles is 6'2".
Mabor Gabriel was the best player in the first half of the Division I championship game against BG 2 years ago. As a sophomore, he was. I remember sitting there at UNH saying, this kid is the best player on the floor. As a sophomore, he disappeared in the second half. I haven't seen that kid since. I mean, it kind of comes and goes. And he's a very, from all accounts, a very, very nice kid. He's going to play at the next level. He's a good kid. Some kids just don't have it in. And if Tyler Livingston is playing against a Central team that doesn't have Isaiah Joseph, and they have Nick Macris, who's a good big man, but he gets in some foul trouble sometimes, and he's not pounding it inside, then he doesn't have it either. Some kids have it and some kids don't. It's just that's the way it is in sports.
I think as far as Trinity is concerned, and I saw them play against Central the other night, and I thought they were flat. And I did not get a chance to talk to Coach Keefe after the game, and I wish I did.
Does it look like they take turns shooting?
It just, they just didn't look like they had it.
I watched that whole game. Doesn't it look like they take turns shooting? Like they're all like, it's your turn now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they need a little bit of a jolt or something like that. I don't know. I mean, maybe the game against West last night kind of woke them up a little bit. I think Carmen Giampetruzzi needs to kind of take control a little bit.
I'd like to see him post up more.
I think he had 20 points in the game last night against West, and him and Mabor both had good games. But I think Carmen needs to be, and I bet you Big G would say this too. Carmen, you got to go out there and you got to kind of take the reins of this team.
It's his team now. Yeah. He's a junior. It's funny.
He may be the best player on the team.
Yeah, it's funny. I happened to be at the season opener 3 years ago when they played Dover, and it was Dawson Dixon, Patrick Keefe, and Carmen as freshmen coming on the floor together. And so it's just funny to see the evolution of those kids. But yeah, Carmen, is very unselfish. He's a great kid, tremendous three-sport athlete. But yeah, it might be time for him to just take over.
And I don't think Patrick Keefe has played as well this year as he did last year when he kind of burst onto the scene.
He had some nice plays where he just didn't finish. He had a couple in and out, and I thought he played pretty well offensively.
Well, it remains to be seen. I think Trinity, is going to be a good team, but I don't necessarily I was thinking that they and Central were the two best teams in Manchester after seeing Memorial play last night and seeing Memorial play a couple of games right now. I think that it's Memorial and
don't
Central.
Don't forget, didn't West win this thing last year? Or
they were in it against Merrimack.
Don't be seduced by
what
what you see in December too much. I mean, you got a ways to go here.
All right, we'll take a timeout, come back, and we'll talk to the coach of one of the teams that's in the game tonight, the championship game of the Queen City Invitational Basketball Tournament. I'm talking about Jeff Holmes from Exeter. The Blue Hawks beat the defending Division I and Queen City Invitational champs last night, Merrimack, to advance to the championship game against Memorial. We'll talk to Coach Holmes when we return on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com. It's on WGIR AM 610 and 96.7 The Wave. Back here on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. We do it each and every Saturday morning between 7 and 9 a.m. on two fine stations, WGIR AM 610, our flagship station in the areas of Manchester, Nashua, Concord. Also got a crystal clear FM station for you on the Seacoast, 96.7 The Wave. I'm Pete Terrier, along with Dave Haley from NHSportsPage.com. Our next guest is going to be coaching in the championship game of the Queen City Invitational Basketball Tournament. He is Jeff Holmes from Exeter. Coach Holmes, thanks for coming on, and good morning to you.
Good morning to you guys.
So, Coach, did you stick around to watch the end of that the game which determined your opponent for tonight, Manchester Memorial against Central?
No, we did not. We left at halftime. I saw him play the night before. I know we got our hands full, but we're looking forward to it.
Well, you guys got there with a victory over Merrimack last night, 55-49. A hard-fought game throughout. You guys took control of that midway through the fourth quarter and was able to hold on. When I see Exeter teams play, seems like every year you pretty much have the same type of team, a grinded-out team, a defensive-minded team, and a well-balanced team. I think I'm pretty safe in assessing that. That's just what Exeter Blue Hawk basketball is all about. Don't you agree?
Yeah, recently that has been. This year is, we have decent depth, and we've played pretty good defense, and we're working hard, and we're getting better, and I like my group of guys, and we're excited to be where we're at.
Coach, I'll ask you the same question I asked Keith Matty earlier. Different coaches use the Christmas tournaments for different, some have the philosophy. I know Jim Mulvey's told me I'm going to play 12 kids every game. I want to see different combinations. Other coaches tell me they want to win. It helps you moving forward. And certainly you guys should get a nice bounce out of this. But how do you view the Christmas tournaments? You guys are in this almost every year.
Yeah, I always try to. Obviously, it's important to us, so we try to win the game. I do, in this situation, my team this year, there's not a lot of difference between, my top guys and my, 12th and 13th. So I've been, we experimented a little bit this year on getting everybody in the first half and giving them a role and see what can happen, and it's worked for us so far.
Coach, what's the biggest difference been between your regular season? You started off with 3 consecutive losses before the holiday break at Dover, at Trinity, Bishop Girton at your place, and then you win your 2 games. You beat, was it Goffstown in the first game, and then Merrimack last night. Has it been really the competition you've faced between the holiday tournament and the regular season?
Yeah, we had some real tough opponents to start the year, no doubt. Playing at Trinity's no party, and at Dover's no party. But I think we've improved a lot. At the beginning of the year, we were a very low percentage shooting team and a high turnover team, and we've really tried to work on those areas by taking better shots and taking care of the ball better. And our percentages, tell us that we've been improving in that area. Our shooting percentage is going up, our turnovers are going down, so we're performing better. I got a lot of new faces this year, so I think we're a team that will get better as the year goes on.
Coach, you lost your leading scorer, Matt Barr, to prep school, and I was wondering if, and I don't even know how to phrase this, but Exeter is one of the wealthier communities in the state. Are you more apt to lose kids to prep schools than other towns? It seems like it's every other year. It seems like you're losing a quality kid that's going off to prep. Other towns deal with it, but I feel like Exeter deals with a little more than most. Would you agree with that, or am I off on that?
Well, I think it's just the past few years I've lost a few kids. It's always been that way. I've been here 16 years at Exeter, and we've lost kids because we have the academy right in town. They have options to go other places, and we've always lost kids. I just try not to focus on that too much. Matt Barr's a good kid. I got a great relationship with Matt. He thought out that decision with his parents and so forth, and he made that decision to go to prep school, and we move on, and things are going all right.
I know you're talking about wanting to move on and things like that, but I got to ask you this question. I mean, you played Tim Goodrich's Merrimack team last night. He also had his best player transfer to prep school, Dimitri Flores. So both Barr and Flores would have been back as seniors this year. Did you talk with Coach Goody about that and say, man, could have been a little bit different if we had those two guys on our rosters this year?
No, we didn't talk about it, but obviously when you lose, those two guys are probably first-team All-State guys competing for Mr. Basketball if they stayed around, but they're not here. So as we say, the bus still leaves, and we're gonna play, and we'll be fine, and Merrimack will be fine down the road also.
Jeff, you and I have talked about your alma mater in the past at Keene. And we were talking earlier, Conant beat them again. It's kind of unofficially. I think it's the 4th or 5th straight year that they've beaten them. And Conant beat them pretty handily last night. I know, listen, you got your own program, and you've been there 16 years. But we all sort of follow our alma mater. Pete, sadly, doesn't have one because they split it into a North and a South. So you've chosen South as your...
South,
there you go. He's chosen.
I'm still a Panther.
He's chosen his. But you and I have our alma maters. Have you kind of followed Keene? Do you still have family in the area? Do you sort of... Is that a program you must watch out and see how they're doing?
Yeah. I'm always interested in see how the Blackbirds are doing. I don't have any family over there anymore, but still have some friends, and I was obviously good friends with Billy Johnson who was the former coach over there. So hopefully they can get it going and give Coach Sontag, a couple years to get his program, the way he wants it to go.
Hey, Jeff, another Holler on the roster this year. Zach Holler is a junior, good player for you, guard. A long line of Hollers in Exeter. Is this the end of the line for the Hollers as far as the Exeter boys basketball teams go?
Yeah, Zach's the last one. Zach's done a real nice job for us. He's kind of like a 5'10" Larry Bird out there, really smart player and a very good shooter. He's a great kid.
I heard a few years ago, and I've talked to you about this on the phone before, but someone told me a few years ago, they said, you got to see Jeff Holmes' kid. This kid can shoot. I think he was like in 6th grade or 5th grade at the time, but how old's your son now? Is he in the program now, or is he in 8th grade, or where's he at?
Yes, he's a freshman at Exeter, and he's doing well on our JV team right now.
Any chance for a midseason call-up?
You never know. He's played well, and we'll see what happens down the road.
His dad can shoot a little bit, I heard.
Yeah.
What's the rumor? Now, let's do this officially on the air. The story I heard was that you hit a bunch of threes for the University of Maine against Michigan. Did that happen?
It was actually Michigan State.
Even better.
Yeah. It was the first year of the three-point line, and they came up to, we used to play, we went to Michigan State for 2 years, and they came to Maine once, and we ended up beating them because we hit a bunch of threes. Actually hit 7 threes in the last 10 minutes of the game, so we came back from 18 points, and we beat them, and it was a big deal at the time.
This is the difference between Jeff Holmes and Dave Haley, because he's just, I'm pulling this out of him right now. I would be running around. That would be a bumper sticker on my car, by the way.
Well, Dave's quick to tell you about his dad who played college football for the University of Notre Dame, so he's very excited. You're only a couple of weeks away now from the
9 days.
BCS championship.
But who's counting?
Coach, I went to Husson College. Did you have a big rivalry with Husson back then? Because we had a pretty good basketball program.
Yeah, Husson's got a great basketball program. We never played them when I was up there, but we played pickup ball with those guys, and they had a real good program.
My brush with greatness was when I played on the Husson JV team. This was 1991. We played against an MCI team. We played back-to-back nights, and we lost 130-30 the first night, and then we had to play them again the next night, and we lost by 75. And who was a guy that I played against?
Sam Cassell.
You got it, Sam Cassell, who was going to Florida State. Although I didn't, he wasn't Sam Cassell. And I think they had another kid on that team, too, who went on to the NBA. I want to say...
Barry Carter, I think it was.
Yeah, I
played at Ohio State.
All I know is that I hit one shot, a turnaround jumper. It was like a Robert Parrish teardrop, and I got fouled in the play, hit the free throw to make a three-point play, and then I said, Coach, take me out of the game because I've done all I can do. Hey, I got a couple players I want to talk to you about. Tyler Russ was a kid who impressed me last night. Strong guard. You guys always seem to have good guards at Exeter High School. He had 13 points in the game. And then you guys got what a lot of teams don't have in Division I and in New Hampshire High School hoop. You got some size. You got Max Medley, 6'6", junior, and then you got Chris Stoll, 6'7", senior. Can you talk about those guys?
Sure. Tyler Ross is our most seasoned player. He's a 3-year varsity guy, and he did a nice job last night. He tends to not force things and let the game come to him. He tends to play well. We kind of focused on that with him last night, and I thought he did a real nice job with that. And we do got to have an emphasis of getting it inside to our big guys, Max and Chris, because you're right. Not many teams have 6'6", 6'7" guys that start and play a lot. So, our success is going to ride on those two big guys.
I assume that Matt Vigars is the younger brother of Louis Vigars, who was a good guard for you guys a few years back.
Yes, yeah.
It's this family name. They just keep going at Exeter. Hey, what's the rivalry like between you and Coach Ball? Obviously, Exeter football team, back-to-back championships in D1. You got a couple of players that play for him on your team. Well, I think Danner plays football, doesn't he?
Actually, it's Danner's brother who plays.
Ross, his brother.
Plays,
okay. And Klamarzik, does he play football?
Yeah, Klamarzik was one of Billy's top players, and so was Max Medley, and also Zach Adler. So I got 3 guys that played a lot for him.
What do you expect from guys like that? I mean, Billy's got such a buttoned-up program. They're all business there at Blue Hawk football. You just know when you get those kids coming over from the football program that you got quality kids, don't you?
Yeah, correct. I've had a lot of success with football guys playing in my program. Billy's the best. I won't be around the bush. He's the best coach I've ever been around any sport. And, you get guys from his program. They know how to work. They know how to compete. And, so it's a win-win. So I like the football guys I get.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck tonight. Look, you got a better chance playing against this Memorial team tonight than you do trying to pronounce their names. If you ever look at the roster, it's like, oh, my goodness. So have some fun with that tonight. Should be a good game, and we'll see you along the way. You got you open up the season, the second half of the season. I say the second half of the season, 3 games in, but the post-holiday half of the season against Manchester Central. So you got a couple of tough Queen City teams in a row here. So best of luck tonight and in the regular season as it moves on.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Jeff Holmes from Exeter, one of the good ones. I love the story about Michigan State, so good job with you, Dave, getting out of that
I had heard that. I need to get it on the air. That's tremendous. My goodness, 7 threes in 10 minutes.
Yeah, just playing against Michigan State is pretty cool. And the fact that they actually came to Orono, they must have jumped off the plane and said, where the hell are we? Where are you taking me, Coach?
Yeah, one of my favorite stories was when Michigan played BC one year at Alumni Stadium. The Michigan kids got there a day early. They were touring it, and one of the Michigan players commented. He said, "This is a nice practice facility." They're like, "No, this is where we're playing."
We'll take a quick timeout. More of the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show. Pete Terrier, Dave Haley, NHSportsPage.com. It's on WGIR AM 610 and 96.7 The Wave. Little Beastie Boys action for you. Perfect holiday music. Pete Terrier, Dave Haley, NHSportsPage.com. It's the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show as the holiday tournament's pretty much wrapping up around the state either today or tomorrow. Lots of teams playing lots of games, although one team that is not playing in a holiday tournament, the Bishop Garden Cardinals. And I know the last couple of years they've been down to, I think, Chelsea, Massachusetts for a tournament. But I saw Coach Mignault last night at the game at Memorial High School between Memorial and Central. So he's just kind of out there scouting. What do you think the benefit of not playing in a holiday tournament is? get away from each other for a while?
It's a little early to worry about that. I think last year's team could have used that, but no, it's disappointing. I'm sure Jim's really disappointed. Another team we forgot to mention, Pinkerton played Lawrence and lost it.
They always, and doesn't Londonderry usually play in that tournament?
Yeah, Londonderry's down, and Salem.
And Pelham usually plays in there too. The Greater Lawrence Christmas Classic or whatever it's called.
Matt Regan's big on playing at Matt Regan at Pelham. I always say coach's name. I just assume everyone knows who I'm talking about. I gotta stop doing that. He goes down to Massachusetts a lot in summer league and so forth. To get back to your original question, no, there's no benefit. And the other thing, too, is you talked about co-champions in Nashua. I think it's really important for there to be a winner in these tournaments. And I remember one year, this was years ago, Plymouth, Laconia, a bunch of schools used to do a round robin. I think some tournaments still do round robin, maybe the Farmington tournament. I mean, what's the point of the round robin? You know what I mean? Like, there's no champion. It's just sort of...
You just play.
Yeah, you just play. And I don't know.
Look, I think that, and I think they fixed the situation in Nashua. I mean, it happens a lot with these holiday tournaments. Weather plays a role. Last year, I think they had to delay the start of the Queen City Invitational Tournament because of snow. Happened again this year. The Seacoast, the Oyster River Tournament, they canceled the games on Thursday, because we had the snow Wednesday night, Thursday, and you're telling me you had just all rain. It was bad rain.
They did it because
in
the
Hampton.
Spalding kids were coming from snow. It was bizarre. The Portsmouth kids weren't. The Portsmouth kids were probably sitting there going, "What are you talking about?" I mean, it was literally no snow in Portsmouth.
But yet they played the Bauer Hockey Classic, the hockey tournament at JFK. They did not cancel the games on Thursday.
Of course not.
They're
hockey kids.
You know what they did? They said, you know what? We're not going to play inside JFK. We're going to play outside on the frozen
They'll take
pond.
Snow Dog. Yeah,
I don't even know if the ponds are frozen as of yet. I mean, I think that there's some ice there.
Those people are crazy.
But
man.
I would not trust it.
I don't have many phobias, but
they're not safe, Adam.
No, not at all.
No, we're looking forward to great event. And we'll have Scott Crowder, who is the organizer of the New England Pond Hockey Classic. I know this is a high school basketball show. And when Mark Taylor was here doing the program last year, we did the New Hampshire High School Sports Show, and it was hoop and hockey, so it was a balance. But
I know.
And I know that there's hockey teams and fans and coaches and players tuning into this show going, when are they going to talk hockey? You know what?
In the third hour.
I like hockey, in the third hour. But I just don't follow it enough to do a good show. When Thaler was here, he was the hockey guy for the Union Leader, and he knew hockey.
He misses it,
and
too.
I did just enough. Yeah, he's out there
He's all over Twitter.
Tweeting like crazy. And I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun talking hockey, and you could probably relate to this. Salem High School, one of their assistant coaches is Robbie from Godsmack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an assistant coach for Salem High School hockey.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But anyway, look, we're not doing hockey this year. I just don't have enough knowledge. And Dave's like, what's hockey? What is this hockey you speak about? It's like me in Division III and Division IV.
I know hockey, but listen, I got 90 teams to track for boys basketball. That's all I can handle. Because I get emails from people saying, "Why don't you cover girls basketball?" And you're partners with me on nhsportspage.com, as is John Cassidy and Elliot Bless. We're going to go in that direction, but you got to know what you know, and you can't. Mark Thaler doesn't know anything about basketball, so we don't know anything about hockey.
I'd rather do a really good job with what I know, and that's basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get more knowledgeable about Division III and Division IV. And as I said, I promise that I will go to a Division III game. I'm even going to see a Division III team play today. I'm going to see Campbell play at some point. I'm looking forward to it. They're undefeated in D3 play, 5-0 to start the season, although they did lose yesterday to Thornton Academy out of Saco, Maine in that Chick-fil-A tournament. And they're going to be playing someone today. Off the top of my head, I don't know. They're playing in a loser's bracket game. Maybe it's Nashua North. I don't know.
I think they are playing Nashua
I give them a chance to beat Nashua North. The North is down this year. They were a senior-laden team. I don't know how we got off the subject of this New England Pond Hockey Classic, but what I was telling you about, Lake Winnipesaukee, the lake freezes over, hopefully. Last year it didn't because it wasn't cold enough, and they got like 150, 200 pond hockey team. So guys,
That's
our age,
yeah.
sort of like beer league basketball type of thing. This is pond hockey stuff.
It is awesome.
It is awesome.
That sounds awesome. Honestly, I would go to that.
It is cool.
Give me some beers and I'll
It's
sit there and
cool.
watch that.
It's-
By the way, beer league basketball. What are you talking about?
No, it's just
There's no such thing.
it's a stereotype.
All right, you're hurting my kid.
I know you'll play in a serious.
By the way, Campbell, Nashua North at 3:00.
Is it Campbell, Nashua North? Okay, so that would mean
Alvin, Milford at 4:30.
and Milford. So Alvin wins that game. Campbell, Nashua North is a toss-up. I might even give the edge to Campbell. So we'll see if a Division III team can beat a Division I team in that Chick-fil-A tournament. Really looking forward to that Souhegan Nashua South game. My first look at the Panthers, and then you got Thornton Academy going up against Hollis Brookline, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Cavaliers as well.
You know, it's a game that I sat there and looked up on the website to see when they're playing a game. You have to be at Nashua, and it's in January. Nashua South at Manchester Central.
Oh, that'll
That's
be a good
Tuesday
one.
night game. Usually, I can't make those because of the little redhead sitting 3 feet to my right.
I'll be there.
But I will be. No, I'll be there too.
Oh,
I'll
Dave.
we'll get a babysitter or something.
All right, we'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up the show, head towards the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. I'm seeing the forecast on WMUR. It looks like 4.5 inches of snow projected for Manchester.
5.5 Seacoast.
Boo.
So the Seacoast will actually get some snow this time, folks. No
Finally.
rain, snow line. You get the white stuff. Quick timeout. More on the New Hampshire High School Hoop Show coming up next. WGIR, AM 610 and 96.7 The Wave. We're wrapping up the program on this week between Christmas and New Year's. Happy holidays, everybody. It's been a good holiday season for me, and as you can see, Dave Haley from NASportsPage.com has a lot of reason to smile during the holidays. His young daughter, Allison, in studio. She is our special in-studio expert. We've had Mike Bellevue from Souhegan as our in-studio football expert. Now we got Allison. What is her expertise? Allison, can you say hi to Daddy maybe on the radio here?
Hi, Daddy.
Very, very nice. She is a cutie. You want to see something really cool? Go check out the video cast of the show. This will be up there tomorrow at some point. NHSportsPage.com. You can see who got the looks in the Haley family here.
Yeah, luckily she looks like her mother.
Yeah.
She's an expert on naked Barbie dolls, pretty much.
Really?
Because, I don't know where the clothes go to. They're in a pile someplace, but there's a Barbie dream house, and right now I think there's 56 residents. If the fire marshal ever came to that Barbie house, it'd be over.
What was it like doing Christmas with a young daughter like that? Because I know that my two sons, my son Ryan is going to be 3 in March, so he kind of gets it, but not really. But my son Zach, who's going to be 5 in January, gets it.
Yeah.
And he was a crazed man when he saw that Eagle Castle that he asked Santa for, and it was there on Christmas morning. He was pretty pumped about that.
What's the best thing you got for Christmas?
Did you get a Kindle Fire, I see?
A Kindle Fire.
And do you watch movies and stuff like that on there?
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy doesn't make you watch like Hoosiers over and over again?
Not yet. That's going to happen.
No?
You should just, in that intro, we should just have Norman Dale the entire time. Honestly. It's fantastic. I don't know. The saddest story ever was Pat Quinn, who used to coach St. Thomas, was coaching a team at Brewster Academy. And he said he went on a road trip, and he told his kids, he said, I'm going to put on a movie called Hoosiers that came out back in 1989. And, you're welcome in advance. And halfway through, they're like, can we watch Coach Carter?
Really?
And I said, I almost ended the website that day. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Do you think
Coach
kids,
Carter?
Do you think? And I really like Coach Carter. I think it's.
I know,
I think
but
it's
Hoosiers.
a really good movie, and Hoosiers is a great movie. You think kids just can't relate to that stuff?
I don't know. Maybe they can. I don't know.
Because
I don't know. We're old.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like Hoosiers.
Me.
I don't want to live in a world.
You don't like Hoosiers, Furious?
Not a fan.
Come on.
Not a fan.
And how old are you? You're in your 30s, right?
Barely.
So how old are
Yeah,
you?
that might be it.
30.
You're 30. Okay.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't do it for
No,
you.
it just doesn't do it for
You're
me.
like above the rim with Tupac?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Boy, I call that one pretty
What
quick.
was that? That Ray Allen, the Jesus Shuttle. He got game.
Yeah, he got game.
Yeah, that was all right.
I actually watched a little bit of. Was Denzel his father or something in there?
Yeah, it could have been a good movie, but Spike Lee put a horrible soundtrack on it and just
atrocious.
And the ending was just cringeworthy. It was terrible. Yep. He gets screwed over because Spike Lee. I don't want to get into it.
Don't go. No, just stop now.
He gets screwed over in the end, the father. But Ray Allen was pretty decent in that movie. And the best story about that movie is that Ray Allen played Denzel one-on-one, and it was basically Denzel had to win, or he's going back to prison. And Denzel was supposed to lose 10-0, and Denzel started trying and hit some lucky shots and started talking trash to Ray Allen, and Ray really got mad. It was real. And then Ray beat him, but he really was beating him and really talking trash.
He went back to jail.
Denzel didn't really go to jail, but Denzel, in acting as the character, really hit shots and was really beating Ray Allen and really talking junk. And Ray Allen was really getting angry, which is really so it's fun to watch. It's a good movie.
Makes for awesome entertainment.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can do that in a movie set and get your co-star who's supposed to be mad at you actually mad at you, it's gonna make the chemistry on screen a hell of a lot better.
Totally agree.
What about White Men Can't Jump?
Oh, that was great. That was great. I don't care what anybody says. That was a great one.
I lived out in Santa Barbara, and I used to play. There's 2 hoop courts you'd play at, all in the ocean, and they were just the same way. But there was one court that was just like those courts where a guy would block another guy's shot cleanly, and the guy would call foul. Mm-hmm. They would argue for 15 straight minutes, and the game would never get completed. So I went to the other court. Do you have something to add, honey? Do you want to talk about White Man Can't Jump?
You're a big Woody. You like Rose. She likes Rosie Perez.
She's staring at that microphone. She's got something.
Hey, you know what? You know what movie? You know what movie I saw, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago? The Hobbit. I went to go see it. I went to go see it last week, and it was awesome. It was great. And when the movie ended, I was very, very sad because there's going to be 2 more Hobbit movies coming up. The whatever it is. The Hobbit is basically a prequel of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
I know. I watched it.
Well, next year at this time, the second of the 3 Hobbit movies is coming out, and then the third in 2 years from now. But it was such a good movie. But I was sad when it was over. I'm like, man, I got to wait another year. So what did I do? I went home that night after seeing The Hobbit, and what do you know? Lord of the Rings: Return of the King was on TV. One of the movies. So I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching that.
That's another series I couldn't get into. The Lord.
Really?
He dreams he lives in Middle Earth.
Really?
But however, Harry Potter is all about it. Love the Harry Potter movies.
I never saw one of those.
I like those too. But just The Hobbit really does it for me. I actually was watching the Hobbit movies.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No. I was watching it with my young son, and my wife has always been like, inappropriate, too young.
Oh, Game of Thrones?
No. For The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings movies.
What?
And I actually sat down and I watched it and I explained. He was asking me questions. It was like one of the thrills of my lifetime. My young son sitting there watching The Lord of the Rings with me, and he's asking me questions and I'm explaining. He wasn't scared or anything. I said, "Don't worry, this is just movies, make believe," and he wasn't scared. It was a lot of fun.
Let me ask a question.
We're out of time, so ask it quick.
One quick question. At one point, did the relationship between Frodo and Sam become uncomfortable?
No.
Second movie?
No, they still.
First movie.
They love each other. They love each other.
They certainly did.
They went through a lot together, trust me. Hey, I want to thank Jeff Holmes from Exeter for joining us, Keith Maddie from Lebanon. Happy holidays, everybody. Say hi to me if you're out at the Chick-fil-A tournament in Nashua. For John Kesty, Dave Haley, Adam Furious, I'm Pete Terrier. Enjoy the New Year's holiday, everybody.